So, next up to our first speaker today, Stephen Fiyalko is the Acting President and Honorary Secretary of the Melbourne Theosophical Society, previously serving as a CEO in Aboriginal and Job Services. He is a world traveller and practices sound healing, having trained with Jonathan Goldman in the USA. This session is an introductory experiential workshop to explore the universal laws and practice of sound attunement, a simple approach to self-healing that combines sound and energy work to balance your chakras and endocrine system. Please welcome Stephen to the stage.
With a very warm welcome. You're all always welcome to be coming here with us. And just to give you the basis on which the society was formed some 150 years ago, on the three founding principles. One is to form the nucleus of the brotherhood and I add the word sisterhood of mankind, humanity, without distinction of race, creed, sex, caste, or color. And considering that was done 150 years ago, and the organization was founded in part by some very strong women, forerunners of the women's rights movement during the time of the suffragette movement and so on. I'm impressed, very impressed, and grateful. And also to study the similarities between the I can't read this. Philosophy, religion, and science, and to research those, and that research was used over many years to prove the point that we are all one, that there is a common spirit connecting all of us through our experience in lives. And then finally to investigate the unexplained laws of nature and the powers latent in the human being, which is very much what the parapsychology group is about. So, having done that, I just want to describe a little bit about sound attunement, which I say, based on my experience, energizes, balances, and self-heals. Now, what exactly does that mean? Well, sound is vibration, and attunement means to harmonize. And what we do is we work with you will be working with your own, facilitating the flow of energy through your own chakras and endocrine system, which are very closely aligned. And in doing that, you help bring the body into balance. When the body is in balance and the energies are in balance, the body will self-heal. And we'll start off with just one aspect of this, the thymus gland. Now, the thymus gland is the master gland of the immune system. It fights off infection, producing white blood cells. It produces hormones which control mood, growth, and metabolism. And it shrinks as we get older, unfortunately. So we'll just do a little simple exercise to get ourselves going. It's called the thymus thump, if you want to be vernacular. And you can sit there and do this. You take your hands. You can use the flat of your hands, the tips of your fingers, whatever feels comfortable, as hard or as soft as you like. And that's where the thymus is. Let me just soften this light a little bit so you can see the screen. So that's where the thymus is. And you're going to be tapping that for about 30 seconds. Now, I don't know how any of you feel about that, but if you do that every morning, before you get started, or at any time during the day when you feel like you got to go into something a bit difficult, give yourselves a tap. What you're doing is stimulating a gland that stimulates the entire body, and it gives you a bit of a pick-me-up. That's my experience. Anyone else feel anything from that, or nothing? Or how many people felt something? Well, that's quite almost all of you. That's really impressive. So just consider that as we go into this, because sound attunement works with all of the glands. Now, we talk about the endocrine system, and I want to talk about why we talk about the endocrine system. The endocrine system parallels the entry of the chakras into the body itself. Each of the chakras are placed in certain parts of the body. They have their own frequencies, their own color, their own attributes. And what we do is we allow or facilitate the flow of energy into each of those chakras, which then flow through into the endocrine system and stimulate the whole thing, removing blockages if there are any, and so on. What happens when there's a blockage? When a river is dammed, the fish can't flow, things don't work right. And when you have a blockage within your system, it can, at first you could be ill at ease or whatever, but over time, if it's not rectified, it can cause illness. The interesting thing about these problems are they are different for each of us. Everyone manifests different results from the same stimulus, given the nature of our bodies, and that's something to consider. So, the endocrine system uses hormones to control and coordinate your body's metabolism, energy level, reproduction, growth and development, and responds to injury, stress, and mood. The body hints at the importance of the endocrine system given the gland's proximity to the 7 key energy portals of the chakras to the body. The chakras are swirling wheels of subtle energy, directly linking those energies to the glands and the entire body. But before we go into all the details of what sound attunement is, let's take a step back with theosophy. Madame Blavatsky, who founded helped found the Theosophical Society, described divine wisdom, knowledge, or science, which she further described as aggregates of knowledge and wisdom that underlie the universe. So that knowledge and wisdom collectively underlie all of the universe, and the universe is composed of energy, divine wisdom, divine energy flowing through the system. Now, what we don't realize is that delving deeper into that knowledge, we'll have to look at the laws of the universe. Up until about a few years ago, I never heard of them. I never knew what they were talking about. And these laws that we're going to talk about today are the foundation, the underlying principles of sound attunement, but they underlie almost every activity in human life. So when you start thinking about the laws and learning what they are, you have a choice. If you don't know what they are and you're ignorant, you can become a victim. Like the law of cause and effect. And if you didn't know there was a law called cause and effect, and you took action, and you didn't understand what happened in response, part of that stems from a lack of understanding of what these laws comprise, because that's just one of them. The karma is just one of them. And these laws make sound attunement possible. Now they operate out of your awareness, but like gravity, given every aspect of life, it governs every aspect of our lives, both physically and spiritually. But the laws do not tell us what to do. I have a problem with the laws of the land. You can't do this, you can't do this. No, we have choice. We have free will. We can do what we like. But does unawareness of the law of inertia, for example, protect you from the impact in a car accident if you're not wearing a seatbelt? Your head goes into the windscreen. You could become a quadriplegic, paraplegic, or whatever. And what do you do about that? You can't do anything after the fact. So I would make the point in going through these laws that they are an essential tool for approaching life. But I give them in the context of sound attunement to give some relevance to what I'm saying. Now, the first one is the law of divine oneness. Author Shakti Goyne says that spirit is the essence of consciousness, the energy of the universe that creates all things. Each one of us is a part of that spirit. A divine entity, so the spirit is the higher self, the eternal being that lives within us. Beyond intellect, with meditation, we can be one with it. Now, living spirit is an absolute essential part of sound attunement itself. I have to say that sound attunement was developed before I was aware of the laws. And when I started reading about the laws, I said, wait a minute, look at this, look at all these connections. I was lucky, or maybe intuitive, who knows what it is. So that is an essential one. Now, just so you know, I have a handout which I'll give you later, which will have all of these images on it, and you do not have to take notes or worry about what you're saying. Now, the laws of the universe are based on a book, The Light Shall Set You Free, which we have copies of here. What I'm giving you is a bare sketch of what those laws comprise. But if you want to know more, it's an inspiring book. It has passages from what they call some of the Ascended Masters, who succinctly describe the meaning of each of these laws for us. And what was heretofore secret is now open. And it's an essential step if we want to move on to the new age, past this age of war and destruction and whatever you want, it lies of this age. This is an essential step. The second one is the law of vibration. Now, the Kabbalion, which is a Hermetic writing about the Egyptian and Greek philosophy, says nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates within this law, everything floats, and various frequencies of vibration cause the difference between things. Atoms, elements, light, radiation, magnetism, and so on. And the word in every aspect of the body and spirit. We can perceive the law of vibration in everything, whereby various frequencies of vibration cause those differences. Simply nothing rests. Everything vibrates, but they have their own unique vibration. Vibration and flowing energy are integral to sound attunement. We can direct that vibrating, flowing energy of oneness as a giver through our hands into the receiver, who can be ourselves or someone else. Energy flow is the key to sound attunement. It's another one. Now, in talking about energy flow, we use our hands. Anyone who's had a Reiki experience or worked with other energy workers will be familiar with this. The hands themselves contain chakras, which when activated can facilitate and direct the flow of that energy. And with regular practice and use, like muscles with exercise, the hands will become stronger and more sensitive, contributing to growing awareness. Well, let's take a bit of an exercise. You can stand or sit, but find a partner. Do you want to come up here? It's a bit easier for me to show. All you're going to do is turn to your partner and hold your hands like this. The flow of energy as shown in the chart flows out from the right hand and flows in from the left hand. When we hold them together like this, we're creating a circuit, like wires to a battery. And we're sharing that energy which is flowing between us. What I'd like you to do is experience that for yourselves. We'll do that for about a minute or so. Pick a partner. What's that?
Goes from right hand out from the right hand into your left.
Yes, and yours goes into my left, and mine goes into your right. So that's how but it also goes through our whole body. Yeah. So it's out from your right hand and in from your left hand. So isn't it convenient when we stand opposite each other? We don't have to do anything other than hold the hands up, and the energy does the rest.
Do you have to feel and sense it?
Everyone will have a different sensation, but yeah. Yeah. My hands get hot and tingle. Yeah.
It explains a lot.
Yeah, and this is just the start, It's not that complicated.
No, but when I'm massaging, I use my right hand to feel what's going on.
Yes. Yeah, but you're also putting out energy, so it goes both ways. And you can use both hands to send energy, but this is the circuit kind, which is what we do with sound attunement. Okay. Now I want you to clap your hands, rub them together, clap them again, and do it again. So that gets the blood going in the hands. It's amazing. And the thing is, does it change anything? You could try stepping away from your partner and holding the hands farther apart and see if that makes any difference. No, the energy flows regardless. Okay, just clap the hands again and say thank you to your partner. Thank you. As with Reiki, the hands are an important part of what I'm teaching with sound attunement. Reiki is tied to specific beings in the other dimensions. This is not, because what we do with this is we ask, as part of the sound attunement process, our partner or yourself, if you're doing it on yourself, because you can do it to yourself, for permission to do the attunement. And when you do that and you say yes, you're giving permission for that energy to flow from your higher self through the hands of the facilitator through you. So you're not responsible. You're not doing anything. You're not a healer. You are simply facilitating the flow of energy which is there all the time. But you're starting to become aware of it, you're starting to utilize it, and you're learning you can direct it. Because when you take those same hands and you imagine breathing through them, the energy will flow even stronger. Just something to keep in the back of the mind. Now, that takes us to the next law, the law of action. So, while we can passively facilitate the flow of energy, consider what effect the application of positive intent and will brings not only to this practice, but any action in our lives. So the Bhagavad Gita says action could culminate in wisdom. Well, I just think that by doing what we're doing, we are learning, and we are becoming, or stepping on that path to wisdom.
Excuse me, is there any chance we could turn the volume up a bit?
I can try.
Well, if you just use the microphone.
Well, hold on. I just can turn up the sensitivity of the mic.
I see. You've got this going.
Yeah, okay. Is that better?
Thank you.
Okay. And if you hear a screeching sound, I apologize. That's feedback. Okay, so the law of action, that's number 3. They're simple in of themselves, but there's more to it than that, because there's the law of correspondence. The law of correspondence is key to understanding how sound attunement practice works, because this law defines what we are. That is, we're a holistic being, which is like a holographic reflection of the universe in all its complexity and power. We're no different than the rest of the universe. We are as complex inside as the universe is out there, but ours is at hand. You know, we don't have to travel to Alpha Centauri. The traveling can be done right here. Thus, facilitating the flow of energy with our hands can have a subtle but significant impact on our whole being as such. Energies tie together and sustain every part of the whole, which is interconnected and interdependent. Consider also the implications of our invigorating dormant parts of ourselves, which barely function through lack of use or misuse. So the implications of thinking ourselves, this is extremely important. If you walk away from here without any other learning, that we are holistic beings. The earth is a holistic entity. That everything we do and experience has an impact on some other part of ourselves, often, most likely out of our awareness, because we're limited in how we can think and perceive through our personalities and the filter of our memory and personality of the world. So when we start to think of ourselves differently, it affects how we think of, oh, my hand hurts, I got to go to the doctor and see why I'm getting a pain here in my hand. Well, your hands through reflexology reflect every part of the body. and reflexology just focuses on the feet and the hands. The same is true for every part of our body. So when we do a sound attunement, when we facilitate the flow of energy through our being, we are stimulating the entire body and all of the different planes of the body, whether it's physical or mental or esoteric, spiritual, whatever you want to call it. It has an effect on everything. And you don't have to know what that's going to be. But what you do need to know is that you are having that effect. Don't take anything for granted. It's like when you have a diet and you try to lose weight, you are also doing other things to your body and being. So that awareness is an important awareness. And sound attunement is built around that. It operates on a holistic treatment of the flow of energies through the entire body, even though they go through the portals of the chakras and the endocrine system. That's the law of correspondence. And to give you an idea of the complexity, for example, as you can see, there are many systems of the physical body alone that we know of, not to mention the many planes of the energetic body which we may be out of our awareness. What is important for us to remember is that they all work in tandem holistically. So it's not just like a drop of water on a pond that spreads out in ripples. It's a three-dimensional, four-dimensional drop of water in the pond of our being which spreads throughout our entire being. It's just that it's out of our awareness. Now what do we do about that? Okay. So this takes us to the law of cause and effect. So like the drop of water in the pond. Here the law of cause and effect comes into play, just as with diet, nutrition, physical and spiritual exercise, how they can affect the body's health and well-being according to our individual need. As too can we do the same with the application of that energy through sound attunement. As I can't believe it possible, given the natural limitations of our mind, to understand what these could be, I think that action with our positive intent and trust in our higher selves will give our bodies and being the space to do what and give us what we truly need. That's another part of this picture. That our holistic being, our higher selves, whatever you want to call it, is part of us. We just haven't learned how to work together with it or understand it. So when we do the right thing by ourselves, by facilitating the flow of energy which removes blockages, all you have to do is relax and let it happen. That your body will take care of you. But our mind and egos tend to interfere with that process. So sound attunement is much more than just, okay, well I'm going to get it, I'm going down for a treatment today, I'll feel good kind of thing. It's not that kind of thing at all. It has the potential to make dramatic changes in you by getting us, you and I, to accept what we are and allowing and trusting ourselves to do what it knows best and stop this medicine and all these external attributes that often miss the mark. Then we come to the law of compensation. That if you help others, you will be helped. Perhaps tomorrow, perhaps in 1,000 years. That's a pretty good principle. I was traveling once, hitchhiking in the States, and I met this guy. He asked for money, and I only had $5 in my pocket, and I gave it to him. Well, he wasn't happy, and he gave me a hard time. He wanted more money and everything, but I sympathized, and that ended. Months later, I was in a supermarket, and I'm standing on a line to buy, and it was the same trip. I didn't have much money, but I was buying some stuff in the supermarket. And this woman in front of me turns around to me and shoves $10 in my hand. I said, why are you doing that? And she said, someone was nice to my son once. That's all. And it was like the ripple effects of that experience came back. That was how I interpreted it. You never know how these things come back. So the law of compensation says that the benefits of our actions within the law of cause and effect are blessings. Yet how willing are we to let go and gratefully accept what we receive? Do we let our egos distort, diminish, and sabotage the healing our body, mind, and spirit are able to give? Can we also accept that the laws are fair and just and true? So, by letting go with gratitude, facilitates the energetic flows of sound attunement. Then we come to the law of attraction. What is hidden within will dictate what appears on the outside. It's a bit esoteric. Attraction and vibration in sound attunement work in tandem, as positive intent is implied with voice, music, energy, and so on. which is drawn to and stimulates the chakras and endocrine system organs, which have the same frequencies or similar frequencies and vibrations. So the law of attraction extends that of vibration. All things and actions produce energies vibrating at similar frequencies which resonate with and attract like energies. So that's an important part of what we do, because we're channeling energy through our hands, but if you really get into it and you want to magnify the effect, you start using sound. You can use the sound of your voice, you can use music. Jonathan Goldman produces these wonderful tapes with chanting to each of the chakras. So at home, I'll do a self-attunement. I'll listen to Jonathan's recordings. I'll do an attunement on myself. If I'm really ambitious, I'll take out my massage table. I've got speakers in it, and I play didgeridoo music attuned to the chakras. And I have the same stimulus coming in from different places, all focused on the same frequencies that I'm working on. And it magnifies the effect of what we're doing. So I find that really very helpful to understand that, because everything has its own specific frequency. So within the body, you have the endocrine system, you have the glands, and then you have and the chakras. But you also have, and I learned this from Jonathan Goldman, don't take it to heart, there are other sounds which can be used through other disciplines. This is what he uses, and because I did his workshop, I use his sounds, and that's all there is to it. These are the sounds of each of them. So E, A, I, A, O, U, A. And each one of them is directed at an individual chakra.
How did you discover them? Did you listen to his body and then you discover the sound?
Well, I think his body would have confirmed it, but he has researched many different disciplines. He has people coming from all over the world from different places, and he's conversed with them, and this is his what's come out of his learning. And he points out in his workshop, he said, yes, the Hindus and other disciplines have different sounds for these chakras, but these are his based on something someone taught him. So I just accepted those. So let's see. What we're going to do now is a simple exercise, and we're just going to say the sounds. And as we do it, we'll hold our hands, our right hand, on that chakra. So let's start with the crown. And you put our hand, you can touch your head or you can hold it above. I touch it because when I'm standing up and holding it, my arms get tired. And we'll just together do the sounds. Don't worry about being in tune, there is no such thing. Once more. Now put your hand above your third eye. That's the space between your eyes, and the brows. Now the heart, it's the center of the chest. Now the solar plexus, which is above your belly button and below your rib cage. Now the sacral, which is below the belly button. And finally the root, which is the base of the spine, right below right where the legs meet the hips. And that gives you a good idea of what we do in sound attunement, because that's very much a part of it. And you wonder about the tone. Is it the frequency of these sounds? It isn't. Jonathan taught that it is the vowels and the shaping of the vowels and the shape of your lips that is as important as the sound that you put out of your mouth. What we did learn, though, was we did a series of exercises where we had 100 people from around the world in our workshop. And we would do these, and people would say, I got a terrible voice, I can't do this. He said, don't worry about it. And we all did it. We all made these sounds. And we found that after a while of doing it, we did them for about a half hour or so, it was very musical. All these people with discordant notes coming out of their mouths, singing together, sounded as one. There's something about that that's really invigorating and powerful. And we enjoyed that. I still enjoy it. So thank you for sharing that with me. Now, this brings us to the perpetual transmutation of energy. Good thoughts will produce good actions, and bad thoughts will produce bad action. In our universe, world, bodies, and beings, energies not only flow, but are continually being transmuted into other energies. The Buddha spoke to this when he said that quote, which I gave you, and thus in sound attunement, this principle applies when we apply positive intent, will, and concentration behind this energetic flow we facilitate with the resonant complementary sounds. Remember, what is involved is a giving and receiving. Agreeing to receive allows you and your bodies to let go and transmute whatever energy is flowing through you, particularly the held energies of blockages in your muscles, so that, for example, you could feel more relaxed. That simple process of relaxation and letting go of the tension that caused the muscle to contract in the first place. You might have put your arm and an elbow in the wall or something, who knows what you did, but something happened and that memory resides in your muscles. And in order to free that tension, you need to let it go. And when you let it go, you're transmuting that energy into something else, or it is going somewhere else. It's like it's not part of you anymore. You don't need it, and you relax. And you do that often and often and more often with sound attunement by again and again facilitating the flow of energy through your body. You're going through a process of transmuting or transmitting the energies away from that part of your body which is pulling you down and holding you back. So that transmission of energy is an important part of the laws. Then we have the law of relativity. According to El Moira, the law of relativity, he's one of the ascended masters quoted in the book, The Light Shall Set You Free. The law of relativity speaks of observation and choice, and teaches the importance of applying the law of vibration to the choices we each make. This law deals with the ways in which we manage our thoughts as we face our problems in life, because we are also provided what he calls tests of initiation to determine whether we have mastered lessons of spiritual growth. Thus, our ability to respond positively requires that our hearts be connected and be connected to the spiritual laws. Sound attunement seeks to free up the flow of energy through the heart and other chakras and operates through the law of relativity to nurture well-being. That brings us to the law of polarity, and this is a really interesting one. It took me a while to get my head around it, but I think I get it now. The law of polarity explains how these energies can be transmuted. It reminds us that there are two poles or opposite to things or conditions found in the physical, mental, and spiritual planes. Polarity is the difference between the two extremes of one thing. But there are no absolutes, rather degrees of difference. We can thus choose to change by raising our vibrations. The higher vibrations of love and positivity subsume the lower vibrations, which are often of pain and ignorance and similar things. At its heart, the law of polarity requires us to learn how to maintain balance, focus, and detachment from the distractions of the material world. Sound attunement itself is aimed at nurturing balance by removing the blockages and allowing the energy to flow freely so your body functions as it was meant to. Then we come to the law of rhythm. And there's only 12 of these, so we're just about done that. The same principle applies when we respond to the rhythms of life. Sound attunement seeks to foster balance. We can magnify its effect by applying the rhythm of breathing, for example, to our practice. So by slowing the cycle of our breath alone, we are fostering relaxation, letting go, and balance. So I don't know if you've noticed this. You walk down the street, I walk down the street, all of a sudden I'm breathing fast. Something happened, and I'm not. When I don't pay attention, that's when that happens. And when I was younger, I used to breathe not only fast, but shallowly. That's, in my case, my diaphragm. I didn't use my diaphragm breathing. I wasn't even aware. When I was a kid, I was really ignorant of so many things. I knew nothing about all this stuff. And so I wasn't using my diaphragm. I was breathing shallow, and I wasn't breathing regularly. I was breathing fast, like it was, a dog panting, like I'm in a hurry to go somewhere, and maybe I was. But when you become aware of that, and you start to relax, and you let the tension out of your muscles, that you can start to, or you can help yourself to breathe more slowly and in a slower rhythm. As you do sound attunement, if you put that slowing rhythm of your breath into what you do, you are actually mirroring what you're trying to achieve in yourself or the person you're working on when you do an attunement. Slowing down. We're not built to be this fast-moving. Leave that to the atoms. They move at incredible speed. But I think we need a bit of space and a bit of ability to slow down ourselves. And how often do we give ourselves the chance to do that? Oh, I've got so many things to do. I'm in a hurry. I'm this and that. And when you do that and you allow those distractions to take over, you're missing out on so much going on within yourself. So the law of rhythm is an important one to consider as you do this or any other type of practice. And finally, there's the law of gender. Broadly, I'll read this because the law of gender is not what we think it is. I thought it was, the law of gender, male, female, that stuff. But no, it's not quite that. This law deals with two complementary functions, yin and yang, found on all planes, physical, mental, and spiritual, needed to create and produce all over the universe. Masculine and feminine energy balance, which is sorely lacking in our world today, allows us to bring dreams into reality. It also moves us into a state that aligns us with the higher self and fosters at all levels unity and strength within. And sound attunement nurtures balance through that principle. There needs to be a balance between the male and female within us, the masculine and feminine. Until we approach that and accept that, both in the world out there where there's this enormous reaction against feminine energy, it's been that way for as long as our history is recorded. And look at the effect it's had. That imbalance has caused enormous trouble in this world. And you can't solve the troubles of the world, in my view, unless you deal with the troubles within, the fact within. So if you're a guy, feminine energy is very important to you, and if you're a woman, male energy is equally important. And how to balance the two outside of sexual relationships is important. So, these laws set a powerful context for sound attunement. Sound attunement encourages growing awareness. And let's not fear of being overwhelmed, which distracts us from the latent potential and loving beauty of what we are. In one story, Arthur, before becoming king, had to face and push past his own fears of wielding Excalibur. As the mage said in the movie, I got this from a movie, I have to admit I like that movie, we all look the other way. But not to be king, or for you and me to be who we are. And these apply regardless of whether we're aware of them or not. So to think that, I don't have to read that book, so I don't know, I don't have to worry about it. Worry about it because they're affecting your life every moment of your day. Now, sound attunement itself has a very simple practice. It encourages that growing awareness. So, we have the sound of the chakras. And we also have the positioning of the hands to flow the energy through ourselves. So what we're going to do is we're going to just pull it all together. I have to tell you a secret. You've pretty much done an attunement. By the placement of your hands and the sounding of that, the sounds of the chakras, you've pretty much done what is needed, except there's one part that I haven't mentioned, is what do you do with your left hand? It kind of sits, it's not part, it's part of the channeling. So, when you do the hand over the chakras, that remains the same. What changes is where you put your left hand when you do that. And your left hand only goes to 3 places. That's here, and that's here. And the only question is when. So what we'll do is practice. Now, there's not enough time to really learn how to do it on someone else, but this is something that you can do at home, you can do it alone, you can do it with a friend. You can practice on someone else, you can practice on yourself. The more you do it, the more often you do it, the more you facilitate that flow of energy going through you, the better and stronger the effect will be. And just try it out. So let's play with this. We've got, when's my time up? Do I have until
17 minutes to go.
17 minutes to go. Okay, well, let's start practicing. Okay, so remember where the sound, and remember how we start. We start with the hands on either side of the head. That's how you get going, and that's how you finish. You don't have to make any sounds with that, you just hold it. So what we'll do is we'll count to 10 breaths. And if your hands get tired and arms get tired at any point, just shake them out. You know, this isn't an endurance contest. Okay. Now some of us breathe more quickly, some of us breathe more slowly, which is what I was telling you. But shake your arms out. Good habit. Now we put the left hand back where it was. Left hand. And right hand over the crown chakra. And we'll go again through the sounds. E. E. Okay, shake your arms out. Now you put your left hand on top of your crown, and it stays there for the next 3 chakras. Left hand on top, left arm. Okay, this is my left hand, like that. And then the right hand over the third eye, brow chakra. Okay, shake your arms out again. Whew. Okay, left hand over the crown again, like that. Right hand over the throat. Okay, shake your arms out again. Okay, once more on the left on the crown, and the right over the heart, or the heart, the center of the chest. Okay, shake your arms out again. Now, a bit more relaxing. Put your left hand over your chest, center of your chest, and your right hand over your solar plexus. That's below the rib cage, above the belly button. Okay, shake your arms out again. Left hand back over the chest. Right hand below the belly button. Sacral chakra. Ooh. Okay, shake out. Left hand back over the chest. Right hand pointed at the root chakra, base of the spine. Okay, now just take your hand and wave away any excess energy that might be floating around that's been released. And we'll just finish up with the hands again at the base of this, pointing at the base of the skull. Okay. Okay, thank you. Clap your hands, rub them together. Thank yourself. And I don't know if you noticed it, but the energy in the room started to pick up towards the end. And while we're working on ourselves, by chanting at the same time or using those valves, we're actually sharing that energy together. And so it's magnifying its effect. Finally, we'll just finish up with one last point, which is the practice is easily done by yourself, anytime, alone or at home, whenever convenient. So, do we need mutual support? I mean, it's a leading question, but without clear intention, regular practice, self-awareness, and the positive feedback of others who care, it can be hard to carry on. How easy is it for you to try to stay the course of diet, exercise, or any commitment you make, even when you know it is of benefit to you? Sound attunement is simply meant to give a kickstart. So, what we offer here is we have a Friday meditation group which starts with sound attunement every Saturday, not Friday, I'm getting ahead of myself, I'd like to do it on Saturday. Every Friday at 5:30, you're welcome to come. We have a meditation, sound attunement, a video, and then a discussion. And you're very welcome to join. It's freely offered. Please come and do that. And I'm very grateful that you shared this with me, allowed me to share it with you, and I'm hopefully to see you all again. Just to finish up, the bookshop is open during our break time now. You're welcome to go in and use that, as you are welcome to have, there's a flyer here for each of you which has all of the images and more that I just went through, so you can take this home and remember what we just did. Thank you so much.
Take some questions.
Absolutely.
I've got a question.
Yeah, sure.
Is this a practice that you do regularly on a daily basis or anything like that?
I have at times, and I have to admit, I'm like everyone else. When I'm home alone, there are so many other things I can do that seem to be more interesting, and they're not, but I do them. Yes, but I have practiced this regularly at times, and I do them as often as I can. And when I do, I certainly get an energy boost. And the more I do it, the more I am present in my daily life. So I do it whenever I have an important meeting here. I do it, and it gives me focus when I come. So I feel like I have an advantage. But no, that's why I've started this group. I'm like everyone else. I'm not perfect. I'm not a guru. I don't tell you the truth. I tell you what I know. I share it with you. You do the same with me. And together, that's what the principle of this group is. I'm not there to teach you anything. We're going to teach each other. I think that if we do this practice regularly, that it will open the doors to many of our latent abilities that we were totally unaware of, but we need each other to find them. and we're not going to get it out of a book.
Is it good to do it in the mornings, evenings, or when you need others?
Morning is good. I do it in the morning, and I'm up out of bed like that, without even thinking about it. If I do it in the evening, I have trouble sleeping. That's what I'm
Would you sit on the bed and do that, or would you actually get out and,
Yeah. No. Sometimes it's fine, but other times it's not.
But in the morning time, do you just sit on the bed and do that, or actually go?
For me, I lay in the bed. It's easier on my arms. I put a pillow on my arm, and then I do it for an hour. I have Jonathan Goldman's tapes are for an hour, and they're timed to all the chakras. They're fantastic. I just have to be careful I don't fall asleep.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
Do you find yourself that you apply these principles when you listen to music just regularly? And is that a worthwhile thing to do?
Yes. I spent a lot of time before I even had this listening to binaural beat music that puts your brain into various states. I don't know if you know what binaural beats are. You play in stereo 2 different frequencies embedded in music. It's nicer embedded. If you listen to the tones, it's kind of boring. And there's a guy named Jeffrey Thompson who's very good at hiding it within music. So you listen to that, and the brain hears the difference between the 2 frequencies. It not only hears the difference, but it paces it. So before you know it, you're in an alpha state, you're in a beta state, you're in the delta state, you're in the gamma state of the Dalai Lama. I mean, he's got all these recordings that are amazing where he's measured brainwave states, and he's come up with how to reproduce them in his recordings. So yes, those I've listened to. And, I like music as well, but I don't like the acid rock. It's too jarring. But yeah. So thank you. Yes, I do use music. And there are many different types of music which you can use. Satisfied? No. Yes.
Do you recommend different hertz frequencies?
Well, what I recommend you do is get different recordings and experiment with how they make you feel. Each brainwave that you get these books and so on, or on the internet, they say beta does this and alpha does this and alpha does this. I know when I listen to the alpha wave and go into that state, if I'm driving my car, which you shouldn't do when listening to binaural beat music, because you can have an accident. But I've done it so much it doesn't affect me. But if I visualize a parking space, and I've done this, I'm going somewhere and I visualize a parking space, that parking space is there waiting for me when I get there. I kid you not. That's the kind of stuff you can do with these brainwaves, but you don't know how you're going to react. Everyone's different. So my manifestation out of that brainwave would, I imagine, be quite different from yours. You might have different intent anyway. But try it out and see how one makes you feel and what the circumstances are that surround it. Another story, I was in Japan, I was listening to the stuff that was putting me into the theta or a similar state, and I walked out of the office where I was working in Tokyo, and it started pouring rain. But I was in rhythm, and I walked to the door, I didn't have an umbrella, and this beautiful woman came out of nowhere, opened up an umbrella and held it for me to walk down to the train station. She didn't speak to me, nothing, but that was the synchronicity of that event. I was like, wow. So what you can do and what happens in those states, theta is supposed to make, be the state of creativity, and so on. I don't know. I mean, we can talk from personal experience. That's what we like to do in our discussion group. We talk about such things, and share what we've learned from our experiences. And I'd like this to be a long-term group with people who we really stick with it and make something happen and find out together the answers to these kinds of questions. Yes, thank you. Anything else, I think? No more questions.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right. Once again,
Thank you.